Prince George once viewed the palace as a symbol of tradition, responsibility, and family bond. As the future heir, he always believed that every step in the royal family was built on these sacred values. However, everything changed one day when he discovered a painful truth behind the shadows of formal ceremonies and the smiles on their faces. A dreadful conspiracy was being plotted. What seemed like a normal royal engagement suddenly became a sign of a troubling plan. Prince George not only saw the fake smiles and perfectly posed pictures, but also uncovered the truth behind it, a covert effort to push Princess Charlotte aside, giving the royal stage to Queen Camilla's grandchildren. In that moment, George could not remain silent. Tears filled his eyes, not just out of sorrow, but from a deep sense of betrayal. If you find this story interesting, leave a comment with the number 1. If not, leave a comment with the number 0. Don't forget to like, share the video, and leave your thoughts in the comments below to let us know. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any other exciting videos. Now let's dive into the story. With the quiet support of his mother, Catherine, George took decisive action. Quiet, yet resolute, he protected Charlotte from the trap that awaited her. This is not just a story of royal politics, but also a deeply emotional tale. It's the story of how Prince George saved his sister from the dangerous plot of Queen Camilla, and why that moment could have forever changed the royal family, a candid and unfiltered confession from Louis. In the cozy, peaceful space of Kensington Palace, a seemingly innocent question shook the entire image of the royal family. A member of the film crew asked young Prince Louis what he liked most about his sister. The answer from the little boy left everyone utterly surprised. Without blinking, Louis stared directly into the camera and said, "I don't like it when Grandma Camilla makes my sister cry." The entire set immediately fell silent. The atmosphere seemed to freeze. The director dropped the notes in his hand. Someone whispered, "What did the boy just say?" But Louis remained calm like a child, simply expressing his truth. His words, simple, innocent, and honest, tore apart the glossy facade of the palace. The fake smiles, the perfect family photos, and the illusion of harmony were all questioned by the pure and straightforward voice of a child. For the first time, people were given a completely different view of life in the royal family, one not constrained by tradition or glossed over by media reports. Behind the scenes, panic began to spread. Soft whispers echoed through the room. Public relations advisors immediately began questioning whether that footage could be cut. But the truth had been exposed, for Louis had not only spoken something embarrassing, but also revealed an undeniable reality. That reality could not be dismissed as just another sensational headline. People began to ask, what had the children witnessed? What did they feel behind the closed doors of the palace? For a long time, Camilla had tried to craft her image, a gentle smile, a soft presence, and an irresistible charm. But Louis's words shattered that perfect facade. Suddenly, the public no longer saw Camilla as the ever-smiling wife, but as the one who made a little girl cry. Kate and William, shocked and concerned, were said to have requested that the footage never be aired. However, close confidants insisted that it was not just a fleeting moment. Louis had simply voiced what many others had felt, but dared not say.
The girls with their nails done now.
Charlotte's tears were not merely the reaction of a child, they were the silent cries echoing through the palace halls. Louis unknowingly had become the one to speak the truth. His small voice revealed the greatest secret within the palace, and that truth brought with it far-reaching consequences, affecting the entire royal family. Another incident also stood out: the portrait drawing session expected to be a perfect moment. The entire family gathered in a formal atmosphere, photographers lined up, and the styling team rushed about to perfect the next official royal portrait. However, beneath the carefully arranged exterior, something was quietly cracking. As the children were positioned, Charlotte, who was still just a slightly fidgety young girl, couldn't sit still. She kept tugging at her dress and shifting her legs, a perfectly normal reaction for a child her age. But not everyone saw it as a normal act. Suddenly, Camilla's cold, sharp voice cut through the silence maintained by the perfect image. "Stand still and stop acting spoiled." Those words didn't need to be shouted, but their power was felt by everyone present. A photographer froze, an assistant turned away to avoid eye contact, and Charlotte, the little girl, broke down in tears, her face scrunching up, as she ran straight into her mother Kate's arms for comfort. Although the portrait continued to be completed with laughter returning and photographers setting up the scene again, the damage had been done. For the rest of the day, Charlotte remained unusually silent. According to a palace insider, she refused to hear her bedtime story, something she normally loved, and instead sat quietly staring out the window as if lost in deep thoughts. Those close to the family believed it wasn't a moment of anger, but rather a quiet, profound hurt. That moment didn't just mark a turning point for Charlotte. It also changed how William and Kate managed Camilla's involvement in their children's lives. To the public, everything remained the same. Camilla always wore a bright smile in photos, standing close to her grandchildren and maintaining the image of a doting grandmother. But behind the scenes, the boundaries were drawn more clearly than ever before. The staff were gently but firmly informed that Camilla was not to be left alone with the grandchildren. Kate began to follow every step, carefully monitoring all interactions between Camilla and her children. During subsequent portrait sessions, those present couldn't help but notice the clear difference. Camilla was always accompanied as a way to prevent any unwanted situations from arising. What seemed like a subtle reminder actually revealed a deep crack in the seemingly solid foundation of the royal family. This crack didn't stem from a major argument, a public scandal, or a leaked piece of information in the media. It came from the tears of a little girl and the deep memory of that moment that no one could forget. The protection parents felt for their children began to grow stronger than ever before. When news of the incident during the portrait session reached Prince William, the reaction inside the palace was immediately triggered, though very quietly. William was furious, but instead of exploding, he chose to remain calm and handle the situation with careful consideration. This seemingly trivial event revealed the underlying tensions within the royal family, reflecting the challenges they face as they try to balance tradition with unresolved internal conflicts. This is not just a story about a disrupted photo session. It serves as a sign of the profound changes taking place within the palace, where even the smallest actions can carry historical significance. Instead of erupting, he followed his mother's teachings. Diana had always reminded him to protect the vulnerable, those unable to defend themselves. Kate was the first to stand up for Charlotte. A family insider revealed that after hearing about the incident, she looked pale and shaken. There were no public statements or loud arguments, but shortly after, new rules were quietly established behind the scenes. From that day forward, Camilla was never left alone with the children. Each time they went out, attended a family event, or had a photo session, Kate or a trusted nanny was always by their side. There was no fanfare, no drama, but the change was clear. Camilla's access to the Wales children had been completely altered. A nanny who had worked with the family for many years confided in a close friend that Camilla would never again be given the chance to be alone with the children, never. The reason wasn't written on paper, but it was clear in the way Charlotte clung more tightly to her mother and in the somewhat rigid look on William's face whenever he stood beside his stepmother. While the public saw no change and the palace maintained its normal exterior, everything had permanently shifted within. The message was sent loud and clear, though no one spoke it aloud: protect the children, no second chances. While Camilla remained queen in name, her influence over the next generation had quietly vanished. The silent memories of Charlotte still lingered deeply. A few weeks later, during a Christmas ceremony, subtle yet haunting signs continued to emerge. A cheerful reporter asked young Louis if Camilla had played games with the children during the holiday. Louis glanced at Charlotte before softly replying, "Not really." Charlotte stood next to him, her hands tightly gripping her dress, her fingers pale from tension. She didn't say anything, but her silence spoke volumes. Soon after Louis shared a memory, Grandma Camilla made her cry. This wasn't the first time he had said that, and Charlotte didn't contradict him or show any signs of distress. She just remained silent. Kate, standing nearby, immediately became tense and quickly took Charlotte's hand as a gesture of comfort and protection. William stood beside them, gently adjusting his posture. A small gesture, yet it was a clear act of protection. It wasn't an accident. It was a deep instinct. Those close to the family revealed that after the event, the family returned home in silence. That evening, Kate told a close staff member she remembers. She always remembers. Children remember more than adults realize the tone of voice, the look in their eyes, and who made them feel small or protected. Charlotte may not speak much, but her silence echoed louder than any news headline. William and Kate realized that this wasn't just a temporary wound, but a deep hurt, a bruise on her soul that needed to be healed and protected. The family began to change, spending less time with Camilla and more time in their private space. The message was sent quietly but decisively. Charlotte's comfort and safety were their top priority. The boundaries between the parents were clearly established, not through dramatic meetings or tense lectures, but through gentle yet serious conversations. After months of observing, William and Kate sat down with their children, asking open-ended questions and listening more than speaking. For the first time, Charlotte used her words to say, "Camilla held me too tight and I cried." Louis, always straightforward, nodded in agreement. George, typically quiet, softly added, "I told her to stop, but she didn't stop." William said nothing, only gripping his hands tightly, his jaw clenched. It wasn't frustration, but a deep, painful sorrow. He looked at Kate, and she nodded in agreement. A decision was made. Camilla's access would be restricted not out of disrespect, but for the well-being and safety of Charlotte and the other children. Palace staff were given clear instructions. There would be no more unsupervised moments or private visits. Every interaction was to be documented and carefully planned. Behind closed doors, Kate began quietly keeping a personal record, not out of a desire for revenge, but to protect her family. One insider revealed that William had a private meeting with King Charles and made it clear, "This is about Charlotte, not politics or history. It's simply about her." Although no public statement was made, the dynamics within the palace had shifted. Camilla still smiled in photos, but it was clear that she had become more distant from the Wales children than before. The invisible boundary had been drawn and could not be erased. The shadow of Diana remained ever present, never leaving this family. Diana was not just a fleeting memory or a faint image in old videos. She was the blueprint, the heart that still subtly shaped the way William and Kate raised their children. As tensions around Camilla increased, the presence of Diana grew even stronger. For William, Diana was not just a figure from the past. She was the guiding light, the source of strength and inspiration that drove him to protect his family through the toughest of times. She was a living example. Her warmth, her vulnerability, and her open arms had become the emotional compass for William's family. Now, as he watched Charlotte gradually distance herself from Camilla and Louis speaking truths that could no longer be hidden, Diana's influence became even more apparent. Though Camilla held the official title of Queen, she had never been able to bridge that emotional gap. She entered the royal family amid controversy, and while time had softened her image, it had not erased the sharp edges. For Diana, love was a natural instinct. For Camilla, it was a structured practice, colder and more rigid. Diana let emotions guide her, kneeling to eye level, offering comforting embraces, allowing her children to cry, laugh, and stumble. In contrast, Camilla displayed a form of tough love, less flexible and more rigid. William saw this more clearly than ever, and silently vowed to himself, not just for Charlotte, but for all three of his children, no one would ever endure the emotional coldness he had once experienced. In their home, emotions would be respected and pain would be healed. Kate carried that same promise. Every bedtime story about Diana was not just a memory, but a living lesson. Charlotte learned about kindness, Louis learned about courage, and George, the future king, learned about empathy, a strength greater than any crown. This was not just the story of a difficult moment or a sad memory. The film tells the story of a family that chooses an emotional legacy over a dry traditional one. Between tradition and tenderness, William chose Diana. That decision changed everything, causing Diana's spirit not only to be revived, but to become a guiding light for the future of the monarchy. The parenting philosophies were sharply contrasting. At first, the differences were seen as a mere generational gap, nothing serious. But as the children grew, the divide between Camilla and the Wales family deepened. William and Kate believed in the power of emotional connection. They frequently expressed care through hugs, open conversations, and encouraged their children to express fear, sadness, and even anger. For them, emotions were not chaos, but a sign of trust. In contrast, Camilla prioritized order above all. She came from a world where children had to be quiet, well-behaved, and respectful. She once told friends, "They're sweet, but too spoiled." To her, strict boundaries were a sign of love, not emotional coldness. These small differences soon evolved into subtle confrontations. At a garden tea party, Camilla was reportedly scolding Louis for spilling juice, while Kate calmly helped him clean up. During the holiday lunch, Charlotte was asked to sit still for far too long. Camilla's sharp gaze never left William's watchful eye. Within the family, no one openly addressed it, as that was not how the royal family operated. But the tension was evident in how Charlotte often leaned toward Kate, or how George would shield his siblings when Camilla appeared. Even Louis, though still young, always stayed close to his parents, seeking safety in their embrace. Camilla had no ill intentions in all of this. In her mind, she was doing the right thing by teaching discipline and enforcing respect. However, in William and Kate's eyes, her approach came across as emotional suppression. What made things worse was that the children sensed the difference. They didn't understand royal protocol, but they understood warmth, and they could tell when that warmth was absent. If you find this story interesting and want to keep exploring, don't forget to like, share the video, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any other exciting videos. Now let's continue the story. Camilla's parenting philosophy is no longer just a difference of opinion. It has become a wall separating her from the Wales family. Quietly but clearly, William and Kate are raising their children in the image of Diana, not Camilla. The divide is becoming more apparent, no longer as subtle as it once was. For Camilla, this situation feels unfair. She feels sidelined, not by the press or the public, but by the very children. Camilla once confided in friends that she never wanted to make Charlotte sad. She simply thought she was being strict, not cruel. She said she speaks the truth when others hesitate and believes discipline is a form of love. To her, it was a way of preparing the children for a world that isn't always kind. But what she didn't realize was that this world, this palace, is still haunted by the shadow of Diana. Diana's legacy lives in every room in the bedtime stories and in every gentle act of protection William gives to his children. Camilla may wear the crown, but it is Diana who holds their hearts. Camilla increasingly feels isolated. The relationship that once held so much hope with the children has become distant and cold. Even Charles has begun to withdraw, not emotionally, but in terms of space. Camilla finds herself arriving late for family outings, standing further away in photos. The warmth she hoped to build is slowly becoming an empty form.
I think the girls with their nails done now.
Privately, Camilla admits the fear that constantly haunts her, that she might always be seen as the latecomer. She is not cold or cruel, but simply belongs to a world that no longer fits the new generation. In trying to impart strength, she misunderstood the true power of the children, the power to feel, to cry, to speak up. And now, in the quietest moments, Camilla knows one thing. The emotional bond she hoped to build with the future royal family may never come to fruition. Charles is caught between his loyalty to the family. He never imagined he would be caught in the silent storm between his dearest ones, his wife, his son, his grandchildren, and Diana's legacy. He is not blind to the distance. He sees it clearly. He feels the weight in every polite and brief word from William, senses the hesitation when Charlotte quietly hides behind her mother whenever Camilla enters the room. Yet Charles continues to try to maintain balance, keeping the public smile intact and accepting private compromises. But within the palace walls, that balance is increasingly slipping away. William has made it clear this is not a matter of disrespect, but of protection. He is not making a political move. He is simply shielding his children. As for Charles, torn between loyalty to his wife and regret over the growing distances within the family, he still doesn't know what the right course of action is. Camilla feels pushed to the sidelines, not by the press this time, but by her own family. Her official role remains unchanged, but her emotional position within the family is increasingly shrinking. Charles sees it clearly. He notices Camilla standing alone at events, hears her sighs when no one truly listens. He feels the heavy silence during family meals, and he's caught in a fragile balance protecting his wife while not wanting to push his grandchildren away, siding with his son without wanting to break his own marriage. So he chooses silence, hoping time will heal the wounds that words cannot express. But time does not heal. It only exposes everything to the light. The palace walls, once built to conceal all secrets, now echo truths that even Charles cannot ignore. The public storm began to rise unstoppable. The outside world discovered the story behind the closed doors for the first time. It all started with small whispers, quickly escalating into leaked quotes from insiders, a widely circulating video, and then sensational headlines in the media. As soon as Lewis's quiet account was made public, the internet exploded. The hashtag #ProtectCharlotte quickly became a trend within hours. TikTok was flooded with videos comparing scenes of Diana holding William interspersed with recent images of Charlotte. The meme, "Louise calls Camilla," spread across all social media platforms. Polls were conducted with over 60% of the public agreeing that Camilla should be restricted in her access to the Wales children. The royal image, once meticulously cared for and carefully maintained over the years, was now shattered right before everyone's eyes in real time. Television experts, commentators, and analysts began an endless debate, dissecting every detail, every action, every word, creating an unstoppable wave of public opinion. The palace now faced unprecedented pressure as long-held secrets were exposed to the light, forcing the entire family to confront the painful reality they had tried to keep hidden. Indeed, the story is not just a simple conflict between generations or differences in parenting styles, it carries much deeper significance. The shadow of Diana is not only large, but exerts an influence far stronger than anyone could have predicted. The comparison between Diana's warmth and genuine emotions and Camilla's strict, somewhat rigid discipline became a harsh contrast, highlighting the fractures within the family. On one side is the building of relationships based on empathy, listening, and emotion, while on the other, there are walls being erected creating a distance that is not easily crossed. Meanwhile, the three children struggle to grow up in an environment filled with invisible pressures, tension, and unspoken expectations. The palace remains silent, not speaking out to the media, but that very silence only amplifies the noise from outside. The story began with an innocent verdict, but gradually became the focal point of national debate, not only about the royal family, but also about the image and future the monarchy needs to portray. William and Kate's response was strategic. They did not fight publicly or use the media to counteract. Instead, they chose quiet, decisive, and discreet action behind closed doors. As the pressure reached its peak, William had a private meeting with his father, King Charles. The conversation was described as firm, direct yet respectful. William emphasized that this was about Charlotte's safety and emotional development, not a political power struggle or personal revenge. Charles listened without opposition, but the atmosphere in the room was heavy, for this was no longer just about painful memories. It was about trust and the future William wanted to build, not only for his children, but also for the throne and the monarchy they represented. This story in some way serves as a reminder of the importance of love and empathy in all relationships, especially in families that hold significant influence over society. It also highlights the inevitable changes between generations, between the past and the present, and how values are either passed down or challenged over time. I agree this passage is indeed powerful and profound. It doesn't just describe a change within the royal family, it's a testament to the shifting values and perspectives on power and emotion within the monarchy. Camilla's access being adjusted, even though her title remains unchanged, clearly reflects the distinction between official position and emotional role in the family. Catherine's quiet documentation and record-keeping aren't meant to create tension, but rather to serve as a strategic form of protection, an armor to safeguard the children and everything that belongs to the family from within. Those warm Sunday lunches that once brought the family together are now merely scheduled events carefully structured, reflecting the meticulous attention to detail in creating an environment where emotional safety is prioritized above image or tradition. William and Kate's silence is not a sign of weakness or surrender, but a powerful strategy, a quiet resolve that contrasts with the traditional royal response to crises often handled through statements or press meetings. This is their way of establishing boundaries not just to protect their children, but to shape a more humane, more realistic monarchy. This scene also highlights the deep divide within the royal family, where it's no longer about rebellion or rumors, but a battle between two philosophies of life, two approaches between strict tradition and openness, emotion. Despite her efforts and her title, Camilla cannot bridge the emotional gap or create true connection, which shows that a title doesn't necessarily equate to acceptance or genuine love within the family. What do you think about how this family chooses to maintain peace by setting boundaries instead of confronting things directly? It feels like both a strength and a burden, doesn't it? This passage truly highlights a significant turning point in the story of the Wales family, not just a shift in power or roles, but a profound transformation in values and family spirit. The contrast between Camilla representing control coldness and the William-Kate family embodying emotional openness warmth creates an ever-growing divide. Charles standing in the middle bears the invisible weight of this internal conflict. It's not just the role of king he carries, but also that of a husband and father struggling with deep inner turmoil. Each small change within the family, Charlotte laughing more, George maturing, Louis becoming more comfortable, all serve as evidence of an environment filled with love and empathy, in stark contrast to the strict traditions that Camilla represents. The public sees this and realizes that the differences are not just superficial, but reflect the shifting spiritual foundation of the monarchy. Louis's innocent remark has opened up a much larger story, a ripple of change that not only affects the family but the entire institution. These children, the new generation raised in love and understanding, have the potential to break the cycle of the past and revive Diana's spirit in a truly deeper and more profound way than ever before. The image of the crown standing at a crossroads is truly symbolic. It represents a choice between a monarchy that maintains rigid forms and rituals, or one built on truth, empathy, and genuine emotion. You see, this story is not just about the characters or the royal family. It's about how love, understanding, and connection can change a system that seemed immutable. What do you think about the future of the Wales royal family after these changes? Will they be able to maintain a balance between tradition and modernity? The whole world watches the royal family not just to see who will wear the crown, but to discover who truly deserves it. This story is not merely about power, luxury, or fame. It's not about the lavish outfits or the formal ceremonies the royals carry out every day. In reality, this story is about true love, about the pain that permeates every moment, about sacrifice and the resilience of a family. A family that may break apart, but where love and mutual protection will keep them standing strong. This could be the most powerful legacy they leave to the world, not the jewels and riches, but the human values they embody. The tears of a child, tears that carry both pain and hope, reflect a deep sorrow that is not easily exposed. But in that very moment, there is also the courage of another child, one who dares to stand up amid countless difficulties to protect what matters most. And when the royal curtain is lifted, the world realizes that behind the glitter and glamour, there are deeply emotional stories about growth, unseen battles, and defining moments. Prince George's protective heart may have revealed a crack in the very essence of the crown, a crack not from the outside but from within. The palace can continue to uphold its magnificent image and grandeur, but in truth the reality has begun to softly emerge, hidden in the dim hallways amidst decisions that not everyone can fully understand. That truth cannot be concealed forever, and every gaze now looks beyond diplomatic events, seeking what lies deep within the crucial decisions. And in the end, behind the closed doors of the royal family, where no one can see, a place where only the royal members truly understand, Charlotte is no longer alone. She is no longer just an image in photographs, not merely a figure in articles. She is a part of the story, a part of the legacy the royal family must protect. And no matter how many veils are pulled, how many secrets remain hidden, the love and protection among the family members will always be irreplaceable. If you find this story interesting and thought-provoking, don't forget to like and share this video so others can learn about the secrets hidden behind the royal palace. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on the latest videos with captivating and surprising stories. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next videos.